Hello everyone, welcome to Jesper's Tales and another episode of Moving to Night City. This show is a Cyberpunk RED build show where I take people, places, things from other media and bring them into the tabletop role-playing game Cyberpunk RED. The theme for this episode and the character brought over are courtesy of my community during the live stream and comments via Blue Sky. This episode, I'll be bringing Chocobos from the Final Fantasy universe into Cyberpunk RED. I hope you enjoy! Okay. So the first thing we're going to bring from the world of Final Fantasy into Night City and the time of the Red is Chocobo. For just disclaimer, of course, all these characters or these items or these things are property of Square Enix and the Final Fantasy franchise. They are not mine. This image specifically is from Final Fantasy X. This is the Final Fantasy X Chocobo. So not my characters, not my creations. We're just bringing them over. So Chocobos. I wanted to do Chocobos. Also thanks to the Mez for the suggestion. We're gonna start here because I keep flip-flopping. So the basic defining features, obviously they are like a burb. They are a large. Oops. Here we go. They are a large bird. They are a type of mount. They might be the only. No, they're not. They can't be the only ones. They can dig for treasure. There are color variations. That can have unique abilities. I think that's good. We've also seen that they can be used for combat as well. But I think that's good. Essentially, it's a it's a mount that, you know, attacks. It's a combat mount. And I constantly waffle as to whether or not I want to make this a vehicle or an actual verb. And I think we'll go with an actual Biotechnica created verb mount. Yes. All right. So I opened up the Your New Best Friend DLC, Cyberpunk RED DLC, and there are two types of lines. There's your regular, or I guess, you know what, we should probably head down to here to build options, and it is either a cyber pet or a vehicle, or I guess my two build options. There we go. Okay. Oops. So a cyber pet. Now in the cyber pet, the regular line, they've got like their own fancy names, like Neon Newt, the Forever Turtle, Data Rabbit, and other little like stats and stuff. And it seems like they're very, you know, they do have some bonuses, but they're pretty much just, I guess, like they're your companion animal, versus the Cyber Pet Plus line, which is like the attacky animals. So those all start with like cyber whatever. So you have your cyber bears, your cyber boas, cyber wolves, things like that. And I feel like I'm torn. Because Chocobos do need to be tamed you know, taking care of it is, you have to take care of it either way. So it's, I guess it would be part of the Cyberpunk Plus line. Because they do attack, they are a combatant. You can attack with your Chocobo. So part of the Cyberpet Plus line. Okay, so in Night City we have Sagatari, which is of course a conglomerate of like everything. But they're not the only video game manufacturer out there, obviously. So part of me was thinking that this would be a Biotechnica joint venture with, I don't know, what are we gonna call... That's what I was looking up. Enix is apparently is video game franchise for the Dragon Quest series, and then there was Square, and they merged and became Square Enix. Didn't know. Things I learned today. And I feel like we should have a... I mean, you know what? For now I'm going to put it with Square Enix. It's not, but if you guys think of a... I kind of want to call it Circle something, just because. To bring the cyber... I'm going to call it Boko. Because Boko was the name of one of the Chocobos. It's also... you know, in the name Chocobo, so we'll call it the Cyber Boko? Is that what we want to call it? You know what? Maybe I'll just call it the Cyber Chocobo. Chocobos are still property of Square Enix. Not mine. To bring the Cyber Chocobo to the Cyberpet Plus line, we have our Cyber Chocobo. We need eventually to determine the level. I suppose it's HP as well. Just looking at what we need to create. Stats. Attacks. Skill bases. Oops. And cyberware. And it also gets an ability. It gets like a special ability. For the Cyber Bear, that ability is Cyber Bear Martial Art. Cyber Boa, it's the Air Hypo Vampires. Cyber Rats get Venom Fangs Claws. Cyber Wolves have combat awareness. So, our Chocobo gets things. They get cool special stuff. So we want, let's see, Lieutenant take up 1 bed's worth of space. That's fair. If it's a mini boss, it takes up 2 beds worth of space. So I'm torn between Lieutenant and mini boss. I was considering it, right? Because you could definitely do 1. I feel like 1 is the bare minimum. But I'm thinking a 2-bed might fit more because you also still need, depending on the game, but you need like the saddle and the reins and everything else. And I feel like it's more of a 2-bed type creature. Either way, I'm fairly certain a burb could fit in 1. And it also just says, like, 1 bed. It doesn't say the size of the bed. You know what I mean? But it's a sleep space, right? 1 sleep space. I guess it gets like it needs its own kind of room. You know what might help me come to a decision? I might make it a mini boss because I don't really see you having a chocobo in a cargo container. Is because you can always have in sleep spaces in Cyberpunk Red, for those who may not be aware. Each type of housing, you can have one plus one extra individual per sleep space, depending on the housing type, apart from a cube hotel. Cube hotel is one person, that's it. So a cargo container is one, but you can also have one other in a cargo container with you. Same with the studio apartment. If you have a one bedroom, you can have two people live there comfortably without taking penalties. If you have a two bedroom, you can have three people, etc., etc. I guess I couldn't see one in a cargo container, but could I see one in a studio apartment? It wouldn't be... Or one bedroom. See, that feels possible. But definitely not a cargo container. I don't know. We'll think on this. Next, we'll work on stats. We'll get down to... We'll leave... Figure out betting in a bit. So we have intelligence, reflexes, dexterity, technique, oops, cool, will, move, body, and empathy. I feel like Chocobos are relatively intelligent. I'm gonna say a 5/6. Reflexes are... Control skills. That's probably fairly low, I would think. But their dexterity would be, like, crazy high. Works as at least as intelligent as a dog, if I have that for reference. I have... Okay, cyber... Yeah, they don't go higher than intelligence of 3. I do have... If I go into Danger Gal Dossier... Do you have a stat for Gustav? Gustav is a police doggo. He's a good boy. Best boy. He has an intelligence of 2. I guess because animals aren't supposed to be, like, as smart as we are, right? I mean, dolphins are apparently highly intelligent. So... Alright, I'm gonna drop it to a 3. 3 is the max. I feel like... It's at least a 3. Gustav's a 2. I'm gonna say it's Chocobo's a 3. That's my thinking. It's probably because it's not supposed to be, they're not supposed to be, like, in theory, as smart as us. I still believe that their dex would be high. But not, I don't know, reflexes? I don't really think so. Response time coordination, as used in aiming, throwing, juggling. Response time and coordination. You know, all I can think of is, like, coordination. So that's from the core rulebook, by the way. Is if you ever... There's a mini game in, what, 10? 10-2 where you had to ride a chocobo and dodge like the birds and the blitz balls. It must have been 10. And you got hit so often, I feel like their coordination is maybe not that great. You know what, we'll say 3/4. The dexterity, though, where it's your overall physical competence for balancing, leaping, and jumping, combat, that sort of thing, definitely high. That one is definitely high. Heroic, I'm glad you also have PTSD from that. I hated that mini game because you would get so close and yet, like at the very end, you'd get hit and you wouldn't beat it and it was a time thing or so I'm gonna say Chocobos coordination, not so great. Athletic skill though, solid. Really, really great. Now technique is the ability to like manipulate tools and stuff. Gustav's tech is a 2. The Cyberwolf is a 2. The Rat is a 3. That's cool. I really don't. I mean, they have Bears is a 6. Well, I guess because it has claws. Chocobos do have like the claws on their feet. But I don't know. We'll put it at a base 2. They don't really use tools or anything, so I'm not concerned about that. Now, cool is the ability to impress and influence people. And I feel like Chocobos are pretty cool. Just double checking to see. Like, they can't talk, but they do have a natural, like, just adorableness that makes people fall in love with them. So at very least, I think it should maybe be a 5 or a 6. You can always change these later. Willpower is ability to face danger and or stress. Also represents your courage and ability to survive long term. Feel like they'd have a decent will. You know, I'm gonna say will's probably also on average like 5, 6. But their move score should be, like, I feel like this should be an 8? Maybe, possibly higher. The Cyberwolf has a 7 move. I feel like a Chocobo should be faster than a wolf. A Cyber Rat has a move of 9. A move of 9. Okay, I may have to... We're gonna have to do some searching here. I may have to cheat this a little bit. Let's just check something out. So, vehicles on average have a 20 move. The hoverboard has a 15. I think a Chocobo... Ooh, do we want to... I'm trying to think of how fast do I want them to go? Yeah, that's the thing. The problem is it's not necessarily like low tier or high tier, right? It's just it's a vehicle. Faster cars go up to 40. But your general, like even the Americar Econo Compact is 20 move. You know what? Let me open one more DLC. I'm looking at, sorry, I have the vehicle list from Black Chrome up, which gives me a nice comparison. But let me just check. Okay, so bicycle speed, if you have a body of 8 or higher, bicycle speed is 15 move. Which is 30 miles per hour. 48 kilometers per hour, for all of you who deal in kilometers. Body 4 to 7 is 10, body 8 is 15. I think it's definitely a 15 move score. It's built for speed. This is why it's, you know, it's created. It's almost like a car, but I'm trying to think, because you can push a car to its extreme limits, right? Like, pedal to the floor, 20. So, a Chocobo, do I want a Chocobo to be as fast as a basic car? No, because that kind of, you know, especially since it's going to be, I mean, it might be the same cost as a car, it might be slightly less. It's not, obviously, you're not, you know, bulletproof inside of it. So, well, do we want it to be as fast as a car? Where is the, so I grabbed the spinning your wheels thing because I was trying to see. Electric pedal says to the next body tier or add 5 miles per hour to narrative speed if it's at the highest tier. Because that was the thing. It was like you could build your own car with this for like 1,000 EB if you put like all the right pieces together. Even if it wasn't, like, necessarily that fast. Maybe I'll make it 20. Maybe I will. Well, maybe he'll be at least as fast as a car. We can always change. You know what? I'm gonna put 15, 20. We'll figure it out. It's at body 8 is at least for 15. So for a bicycle, for a person, they're burbs. They don't. It's like their natural ability. His body can be a 6. That's fine. He doesn't have to be like the hardiest of thingamajigs. I do feel like they might have a solid empathy stat. They seem to care a lot. Now, Heroic did say willpower might be a little lower, going by my frame of reference for 14. They require special training to fight and are afraid of cities. They do require training. All pets require training. That is a default thing to the Cyberpet line. I believe. Convincing Cyberpet to obey requires actual skill. If your animal handling is less than 10, it does not obey your commands. If it's 10 or higher, it depends on its care. So you need at least 10, you need to care, so that's kind of for its thing. I would say it's obviously not afraid of city because they are bioengineered in a lab for this exact purpose, so they're not scared of cities. If I look at Final Fantasy X, where Classico had, or 10-2, I think it would be. Oh no, 10 as well, there were the Chocobo Knights. You know, like, they are trained for combat. That's what they are meant to do. So if you're going to get a cyber Chocobo, it has been trained for combat. That's and as a vehicle, so if things are shooting at you, it's not going to just freak out. So that's my thought on Will. Okay, so if we say body is 6 and Will is 5. Okay, whether body is 6, whether Will's 5 or 6, it still has 40 hit points. Now if we move the body to 7 and put the Will at 6, it gets 45. Gustav, where's my best boy? Has 35. So Ocelot has 40. Cyberboa has 40. The wolf has 40. So let's, I think 40 is good. 40 is solid. It doesn't need more than that. So let's leave it at body 6, and we'll say will 5. You know what? I'll do will 5 and cool 6 because it's dormable. And Dex 8, Reflex 3. That's more. That's I feel like that's more. That's balanced. That looks balanced to me. We'll see how it goes. We'll add things later. Now the reason I'm keeping body at 6 and its health pool kind of like down a bit, is because I feel like Chocobos can get their own barding. Barding is armor for like horses and stuff, and we have seen this in other Final Fantasies. So they can, where I think other pets you can't put armor on them. I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe it's a possibility if it's hey, if you play attack, that might be that might be a route you want to go. But if they can have armor, I'm not so concerned about their body stat. Patient says 40 is good for HP, wouldn't be bad to bump up if you have extra points to play around when you're done. You can always add or subtract things afterwards, correct. Rook says unless there's something else to represent a lot of stamina. It's your... I don't know, stamina isn't a... Isn't a thing? It is, but it's... Because body is like a size toughness ability to stay alive, where your... Where is it? Dex is physical competence. So I would say like their dexterity, which is why their dex is so high, that's your stamina, right? If you're gonna roll an athletics check to see how long you can keep running for, or keep pedaling for, I think that's an athletics check, and that is based on dex, not body. That was my theory. Just double checking in the spinning your wheels thing. Riding fatigue is endurance. Endurance is will. If I recall correctly. I'm fairly certain endurance is will. Where is that? Under endurance? Yes, endurance is a will-based stat. So if there was stamina, it's will, and there was a 5. Maybe I could increase that to a 6, because that was one of the ones I was debating on. So there, if needed, we can bump that up to a 6. I think it's good. Next thing on the pet's stat card are attacks. So we're gonna move on to that. I would say it would have like a beak attack, right? And then, claw attack sounds weird, but it does have those like, was it like a choco kick, a kick attack? Let's do a kick attack. That makes more sense. So the beak attack is probably going to be a combat jaw, which is a rate of fire 1 and 46. And then a kick attack, we'll have to figure out what I'm going to do that. I suppose I could... It just says beak, claw, kick, body slam, headbutt. I think these are going to be more, like, these are more specific, where we will have a brawling, we'll have a brawling skill. So if someone wanted to do, like, if you wanted to say, I'm going to rush in and headbutt it, or I'm going to body slam it, or whatever, that would be a brawling attack. So then you would just use the Chocobo's brawling skill. As Heroic said, yeah, unarmed. So for flavor, if you want to do brawling, that's fine. These are for their specific, like they have a combat job, so it's 46, which is higher than, well, body 6 would give, do I have that? Probably not. Brawling, body 6 is 2d6, so yeah, it does 2d6 more than it normally would. And a kick attack, we'll have to look at what cyberware we're gonna toss into this burbo with its cyber legs, and how much damage that will do. So I'm gonna leave it for now, but I think those are the two big attacks. Skills we're gonna come back to. Let's do cyberware. There's so much cyberware. I'm going to grab a DLC I don't normally use. I'm sure that surprises no one. And I'm going to take a look at the Night Market Index, because this upgraded version is so freaking handy. And I'm going to jump down to cyberware. I don't want Borgware. I don't think it needs... Although giving it an internal frame, linear frame, is kind of hilarious. Let's... where do I want to start? I'm going to start in order of this. We're not going to use... Okay, we're not going to use Borgware. Right? I don't want frames or anything. I don't think it needs it. I think it's just a pretty little burb. So, going in order that they have it in here, cyber audio would be first. Comes with an audio recorder, bug detector, internal agent, homing tracer, level dampener, MediaWare brain gen agent, interesting, radio detector, radio communicator, signal jammer, voice stress analyzer. I don't think it needs any of that. I think there's a lot you could do with, you know, putting in a audio recorder into the barding, like the head barding or something. I think for gear on the Chocobo, it could do a lot. I don't think an attack mount burb needs any of these cyber audio options. I'm just gonna double check. Okay, the only thing I'm determining is the internal agent. And that I may want. The Cyber Wolf has it. The bear has grafted muscle and bone lace, which we could give to our burp, but I don't think we need to. Do I need it to have an internal agent? That's my question. In Final Fantasy, you can just, you know, part the ability that you find. Sometimes you have to be in a certain spot, sometimes you don't, but you can summon a chocobo kind of from anywhere in the world. So I'm thinking that an internal agent to call your bird to your location might make sense. So we need a cyber audio suite with internal agent. So I'm just gonna mark that that's 600 EB. So when we're doing this, we can, when we're pricing our chocobo, we at least know how much the cyberware was worth. So an internal agent, 361. And then, actually, this is also Did I just say Cyber Audio Suite? Where am I? So this is 10 humanity loss. So our empathy 6 bird is now at empathy 5. Very important to keep in mind while we are while we're building this. Okay. Moving on, cyber limbs. Obviously we want some cyber legs. Now Black Chrome does have the reinforced cyber limbs, so they can't be affected by EMPs, I believe. The limb is immune to the broken leg critical injury. Or if it's a cyber leg. Oh no, that's not a... That's not that, that's something else. Was it hardened shielding? I think you'd still, it could still be broken, so that's not it. You know, if I make them cyber legs though, that does make them susceptible to EMPs. And I don't know that I want that. Because the whole point of, you know, having a chocobo as a mount is to be able to ride it. I don't think you can you use EMP on a car? I don't think that works. Oh, hardened shielding is in the core rulebook, that's why. Do we need it? I'm looking at the other limb options. The only thing I could see, because like the jump boosters negate movement penalty while jumping, right? So that's kind of, I feel like it's kind of worthwhile. Then there's the grip foot, which negates the penalty for climbing. The talon, that's just actually a light melee weapon we don't need, but the web foot negates the penalty for swimming. And I think those are really cool. And I'm debating whether or not, like, in our base chocobo, or cyber chocobo, yellow version, obviously, if we give them cyber legs with jump boosters, and that's it. And then depending on the color, you know, if they're blue, they also get the web foot. So they can swim if they're red, because those I think are the mountain ones, or at least they are in the 9. I don't know about the other variants. Then they could maybe get the grip foot, which negates the penalty for climbing. And then they all get the jump boosters. So that's the thing, it's just the others would come with, let's do Cyber Legs ×2 with jump boosters. That is 2 words. Your jump booster requires 2 cyber legs, takes 2 slots, must be paired, so it's fine. The boosters are 500, cyber legs are 100, so that is 700 total. And then if we do hardened shielding, we would need to get 2 hardened shieldings, because it's per limb, and that's 1,000 each, putting that at 2,000 total. Hardened shielding loses 3, so there's 6 humanity lost there. And for the legs and jump boosters, let's see, cyber legs is 3, so that's 6 for the cyber legs, and jump boosters are 3, so that's another 9. I'm very tempted to give it cyber eyes. I don't think it needs it. You know what? I don't think it's necessary. I was thinking for like low light, but but then it's like, does it need infrared? Does it need UV? And I don't think it does. You know, it's got its regular burb eyes. It does need that combat jaw, because we have the combat jaw. Combat jaw, or in this case, beak. It is 5, oops, my goodness, 500 EV. Man, the humanity loss is 14. Ooh. And again, plating, skin weave, well, we could give it, maybe we could give him some skin weave, possibly. Or subdermal armor is an option. But again, they could have barding if we want to add that, so I'm not sure I necessarily want to do it. I'm in fashion wear. Do I want to give it a biomonitor? It doesn't need one. But you could, like, you know what? People can add a biomonitor if they want. It doesn't need one. If you want to, you can add it. Super tempted to add turn on show off nails to like its feet and the claws, just so you could like have those change colors. But again, we'll let people, that's an option slot, that if you know you want to customize your cyber chocobo, you can do it that way. Nasal filters might not be a bad idea though. So that they're immune to like toxic gases, fumes, etc. You know what, let's give our burb here some nasal filters. They're only 100. And we only lose 2 humanity. And I think that that works with it. Like, you know, if it has to run through smoke or a dust storm, I mean, it's not going to help its eyes. But any sort of inhalant, I think it definitely, that definitely gives it a little bit of protection there. How much humanity have we lost? Editor Jess here. I did this section completely wrong. Sort of. I was looking at the humanity loss when it's installed versus like humanity that has been installed, and then once you have therapy, that, you know, you lose only 2 points of humanity per piece, unless it's Borgware, in which case it's 4. We don't have any Borgware in the Chocobo. And Lord Jesus Crust did point this out in chat, and I didn't understand it at the time. It took me a moment to figure out what they were saying. So, looking at this snippet here that we have, we would lose 2 points for the Cyber Audio Suite, 2 points for the internal agent, 2 for each cyber leg, and I believe the jump boosters are paired, so it's only 2 for that, 2 each for the hardened shielding, 2 for the combat jaw, 2 for the nasal filters. So that's 8 pieces of cyberware at 2 each. That puts the total humanity loss at 16, and not like the 37, 41, whatever number I came up with during the stream. Which would drop this if we bump this up to an 8. That puts it to a 4. And I feel better with it being at a 4. So I think its kick attack, which is based on body, would be 2d6, which is fine. Rate of fire is 2, and 4 2d6 if needed. Okay. So those are the attacks. That is cyberware. Okay, athletic. I feel like its athletics needs to be like super high. Because it's built for movement. It's built for as a mount, right? So needing to be able to make those athletics checks, for jumping, for abilities, like all that other thing. Should be fairly high. Okay. Concentration, we'll put that at 12. Evasion 12. So it doesn't need human perception? Yeah, it needs human perception. We'll say 10. I'm trying to think, is the combat jaw a melee weapon? You know what, they just have like C number, so I'm gonna use, I don't think it should be a 16. Maybe 12. They're not really, they can fight, but I don't think that they're like, they're super known for fighting, so like they're running. Running is the big thing, right? Isn't perception based on intelligence? Actually, we'll put persuasion 10, base 10. Um, 12. Didn't do endurance. This guy's going to need endurance. I almost want to give it a penalty. Well, I mean, stealth is dex-based. I feel like, okay, they're kind of quiet, but also they're bright yellow, so... Unless you put armor or something on it. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything that we need without me going through the massive lists of skills. You know what? Maybe brawling's too high. Maybe we'll drop that to a 12. Doesn't have any bad skills. Hang on. Maybe human perception can be... Maybe that's gonna be low. Chocobos don't really understand how people feel. They need to be given orders. They're self-absorbed. That feels right. A little bit, doesn't it? Where it's like they like attention, but otherwise humans are like, meh, whatever. We don't care. No, I'm gonna drop the perception to 10 because their intelligence is not that high. Oh, we could put tracking as a skill. It won't be great, but I guess if they need to try to find their human, or their person, their handler. Tracking again is an intelligence skill, so not great. Maybe we'll make it a 7. They do have the internal agent, so if you call them, they can get to your spot. But if you've been taken from your spot and they have to track you down on their own, very different story. I think those are the only ones we'll need for this. Wilderness survival, is that also an intelligence skill? I think it might be. We might have to make them a little worse at wilderness survival as well. I feel like it's they're bred in the lab to do things. Yeah, they're not good at being out on their own. They need someone to take care of them. In the time of the red? Yes. Because they're not, you know, born out in the wild where they can learn these things. They are cared for from birth, so they're not good at being out on their own. Okay, so that's the skills. We've got our attacks. Kick attack is just brawling, so that's the same. Okay, HP we said is 40. Stats are below, attacks are below, skills. We still don't have an ability for them. I don't know if we really need one, at least for our default Chocobo. We could always add that later or make it more unique in other variations. I think that's fine. And then we have our cyberware. So again, we grabbed a cyber audio suite with internal agent so that you can call your Chocobo from anywhere. Cyber legs with jump boosters, and again the different variations would have like the talon foot or the grip foot or the web foot if they are more inclined for climbing or swimming, if that's what you need them for. We have hardened shielding on the legs so that an EMP won't stop them from moving. Tech upgraded combat jaw to lower the mana loss and nasal filters so they can run through you know, smoke and smog and stuff like that. Alright, so back to the problem issue of what level? Oh, I guess I should probably put cost in here too. Cost, required lifestyle, cyberware slots, that sort of thing. I kind of skipped over that. Cost. Cyberware slots. So I know I want one at least for foot. So if you want to add cyber feet, you can. They all must be paired so that only needs one slot per leg, I guess. It's one. Yes. And then if you want like a pop-up with a rocket launcher in it. So we'll say two. We'll say there's two cyberware slots. If you want to add eyes, you can do that. Okay. For the level, again, I'm really stuck on what you guys think. If it's lieutenant level or mini boss level, where they take up 2 spaces, in which case you need to at least have, what, a 2-bedroom apartment? I feel like that's right. If you had an ostrich or an emu in your place, they would have the equivalent of their own bedroom. They are a mini boss, so they take up 2 bed spaces. A lot of the Cyber Pets in the Cyber Pet Plus line, I guess 2 of them are fresh food. Bear's fresh food times 2, which is insane. Wolf is good pre-pack. Rat's like generic, but the ocelot from the Cyber Pets line is also fresh food. So good pre-pack is qualities most restaurants. Still has an artificial taste, and while still artificial tastes almost exactly the same as real food. And that's $600 a month. Fresh food is $1,500 a month. So at minimum, they're spending $2,500 to rent. Another $1,500 for food is $4,000. $4,000 a month. $4,000 a month to have a cyber chocobo. I feel like chocobos don't care, right? They eat Geishel greens. That's the only food that we know that they eat. They come in different flavors, but you know, it doesn't seem like the ocelot and the bear. I understand. Especially the ocelot, because it requires, like, meat. Boa is also fresh food, but that also requires meat. Mind you, the Cyber Wolf is just good pre-pack. So okay, I'm gonna say good pre-pack. 2 beds. Now, as for cost, as for, let me look at the, do I have Price category table. There we go. Okay, luxury is around 5 grand. Below that, it's 1,000. The Chocobo definitely costs more than 1,000. Super luxury is 10,000 and up. Now, the wolf costs 4, though it's luxury. The cyberboa costs 4. The bear is 20, because he's super luxury. Ocelot is 4. Now, granted, this is kind of a vehicle replacement, right? So, vehicles, 20, 30. Okay, it doesn't go as fast as a... We're gonna say move is 15. It's not gonna go as fast as a car, so it's not gonna cost as much as a car. But I do want it to cost... enough. So he's gonna be debating between maybe 10 and 15. But he's gonna be a super luxury critter. So 10 grand to start. 7.6. You know what? Let's make him 12.5. But he only costs 600 a month. So you're gonna pay just over 13 grand for a Cyber Chocobo. Need to have the space for him. It. Her. He. Whatever. Has 2 slots for cyberware. But essentially is a vehicle and a combatant in one. And I think for that, that's worthwhile, right? Because there are weapons that are just 5 grand, where he's like a vehicle and a weapon in one, and you get to ride a foofy bird. A fun foofy bird. Who definitely needs like barding and armor and stuff, and we'll have to create a Chocobo specific armor at some point. I think for now though, this is good. Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of Moving to Night City, as we brought a Chocobo from Final Fantasy into the world of Cyberpunk RED. If you made it to the end of the video, type WORK in the comments so I know how many of you got through the whole thing. In the next video, I will be bringing Final Fantasy's Gunblade into the world of Cyberpunk RED. If you're interested in full, lightly edited videos of the entire livestream, they are available to Patreon members of Malian Zero tier, and released 1 week early. If you'd like to become a member and support me as a content creator, you can do so by heading to patreon.com/Jesper. If you'd like to keep up with me and my other content, you can do so via Blue Sky. That's all for this episode of Moving to Night City. Please take care of yourselves, and please stay safe. Until next time, meow for now.